Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me this morning is Chantal Braziel. Chantal, she's an opera singer. It's really a pleasure to have you with me today.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for having me.
You're welcome. Chantal, just tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into opera.
Right. So opera was never in the picture for me. I have been singing all of my life. As a matter of fact, I have been singing since I was a baby. When my mother sung me lullabies as a child, I used to hum the same lullabies back. And that was when my family knew right then and there that I was a singer. So even at an early age, I was introduced to music. I was introduced to song. I was 3 years old when I first started singing in the church. So I began to sing solos and hymns due to my late grandmother, and even some children's television shows that had me started singing as well. And growing up, I took voice lessons and piano lessons, in which my teacher has encouraged my family to put me in voice lessons at a later age, so that way my voice could mature, because he knew that I could sing opera classical music. So during my high school days, I joined the choir. I still sang solos and was still very much affiliated with my church. And it was not until I went to my undergrad at my undergraduate school, St. Vincent College, that my former voice teacher introduced me to opera. She literally made me research a lot of Black opera singers, such as who we know of: Leontine Price, Kathleen Battle, Jessie Norman, Marian Anderson, and so many others, because it took someone like her to introduce me to a beautiful art form that I wasn't aware of. Especially, I did not see anyone who looked like me could do it. So when I heard these singers, when I was introduced to operas that I could possibly be in later on in my life, I still wasn't convinced, because growing up, I've always wanted to sing in the church. I've always wanted to make hits and be a gospel or soul singers like who we know of as Aretha Franklin, Mahalia Jackson, because that is the music I grew up on. So I didn't even know about Leontine Price or Marian Anderson until my voice teacher introduced me to opera. And the first time that my family and friends heard me sing opera was during a sacred concert when I was still in college. And right away, everyone was blown away. Everyone who knew me knew I could sing, but not like that. And so after doing more research and studies and more performances during that time, I began to have a love of opera, because it's such a beautiful art of singing. And so throughout that experience, I did more competitions, more auditions, and I continued this even during my career and me pursuing my master's, because I pursued my master's at Carnegie Mellon University. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the United States. And after my undergraduate education, I decided to pursue my master's, and the private voice teacher that I was working with at the time encouraged me to pursue my master's at Carnegie Mellon, so that way I can continue working with her. That is when more doors even opened up for me. That's how I connected and networked with a lot of other, both white, both Black opera singers. One of them who sung at places at the Metropolitan Opera, one of my dream opera houses that did come true because of that experience. She encouraged me to audition for the opera Porgy and Bess at the time that was held at the Metropolitan Opera, because they were looking for Black soloists to join the chorus. And so I auditioned, had a good audition, but I didn't hear back at first. I wasn't expecting to hear back from them. But no later than just a few months after I pursued my master's that I did hear back from them. And I joined the chorus at the Metropolitan Opera in their production of Porgy and Bess. That changed my life forever. Just seeing so many Black artists in one production lifted my spirit right then and there.
One thing I am often amazed of, now you just mentioned Jesse Norman, who is a well accomplished opera singer. Um, I've seen over the years quite a few Black opera singers, but none, to my knowledge, had reached the heights that she did in terms of performances and well international renowned performances. My question to you, in the Black opera culture, do you see the same scope of promotion and elevation to that elite rank like other opera singers?
I would say it's starting to, even though it didn't start that way. And especially as a Black artist, there are struggles that we still face to be successful. We struggle with racism and putting like our feet in the door to opera companies that don't always give Black singers a chance, or they put the Black singers in the same production, such as Porgy and Bess or other Black operas, which is fine if they choose to, but the majority of them want to be given a chance in other operas like Mozart, The Marriage of Figaro. We can do more than just our own music. So I would say it's still the same, but it's lifting up.
Over the past couple of months, I spoke to an opera singer. She is in Germany, and she had indicated to me that really pushing the operas here in the United States, you don't get that same support like those who are in a place like Germany, who get pays and pay very well to do the same job. If it's so difficult for that kind of talent to get not the recognition only, but a well decent paid, how can we encourage young Black aspiring performing artists or opera singers to come to a level in their life where they can make of it a great career? Whether should they get together, form a company, promote it among the Black folks even a little bit more, because it is the opera is acknowledged by both Black and white. It is no complexion to it. It's a beautiful piece of work, and I think it's not like back in the 60s or 50s when opera had that grab on society the way it did. We know for a fact that even opera, when Procter & Gamble opened their company, that's how we get the word soap operas. They use an opera singer to promote the soaps, right? But how could we come to a place like that again in this 21st century? Because every time I look around, whether it's on American Got Talent or other performing artist platforms, internationally speaking, we see a lot of opera singers, and the music is so refreshing.
Yeah.
It makes all the others just don't exist, where they always get a standing applaud, whether it's a young woman that sing a piece of opera or a man that do it. It's always great to listen to it.
Yes.
But at the ending of the day, that is really good. But it has to be more to it in this time of season. There are a few companies who have opera companies out there in the world that really have a grip on the market, and they're doing extremely well. But for young upcoming companies, is there a word of motivation that you would give to those companies, or even young aspiring artists like yourself, to work diligently and prudently in trying to make the best out of it as a career choice?
Yes. If I ever want to give aspiring young Black singers any advice, coming from one singer to another, I would say enjoy your journey. Create your own opportunities. Don't just wait on a door to open. If it's meant to open up for you, wonderful. You step right into those opportunities. But if they don't, and sadly, it's not always easy to get, that doesn't mean that you don't do something about it. You can create your own opportunities by making your own performance concerts. You can have other singers come together in your own town, your own city, your country, community, and just make music for others to listen to. You don't always have to pursue a great career or go on stages like the Met or Carnegie Hall or even sing internationally just to be known. If that is your dream, go for it. I have been blessed with so many open door opportunities that have led me to sing at the Met, that have led me to sing at recent places, different countries like Germany or Austria this summer, so that way I can enhance more of my craft to sing with orchestras. But even if that does not happen, you could still create your own art through your own community. That's what I'm currently doing now, even when I audition or sing in other places. Someone else told me, an international opera singer, Black opera singer, told me, bloom where you're planted. If you cannot go through the doors that are closed for you, create your own opportunities, create your own door, build a table and invite others to sit at the table, welcome them, because music as a whole should be for everybody. Opera as a whole should be for everybody. It's not just for every opera singer in the industry. It's also for those who don't know opera, who don't know anything about music. You need to share it with others so that way they too can be blessed by your voice, by your ministry. Not just opera singers who know of the technique, who know of the art form, who know of the business. It should be for everyone, young and old.
Okay. We found that recently that a lot of companies invest millions and millions of dollars in the contemporary form of music and so forth. It seems to me that it's still, that opera went through a cycle where you find the secular music and hip hop and soul music and you name it, that type of music came and capitalized in the music industry a lot, and opera had took a back step to this music. If you think about it, even in Michael Jackson's time, how so many millions would just support his kind of music. You name it, right? There was that support going behind this new formation of music. But the reality is that the foundation of opera, and I speak about this all the time, opera had somewhat laid the foundation of music for other art forms and music culture build on. And it's so bad that I'm not trying to talk down opera in the form. I'm trying to come from a standpoint where it can even be more elevated now. A lot of folks go to school, and I find that their concentration is in opera, whether you're a good soprano, a good opera singer, whatever the case may be. That's how it works. And I think that if you can get a group of young people or this young generation that come in, have some form of business plan structured as a part of their curriculum while they're studying, not to be dependent solely on companies to promote them and get them to the next level, but encourage financial institutions even to invest in them. Whether you started out as a nonprofit organization first, have companies just invest in this art form, because that was the foundation before. As I mentioned, Procter & Gamble had used the opera world to get their soaps marketed, right? And I think if you can bring not just to Procter & Gamble, but there are so many companies now can use this formation and even the same direction that Procter would have used back in that time to elevate this young aspiring group of artists. We can't forget the foundation on which you build. I only think it's imperative that we educate the younger people, since it's since there's so many people flopping around this form of music, yes, they may diverse and go to other forms at graduation, but I think it's a piece of music that should be always preserved. But in the process of doing that, there should be a structured business plan to move from one level to the next. So would you advise any teachers or principals to inject the architectural design of business structured as you go along learning the operas?
Absolutely, because opera is not just about knowing the technique, the different languages, and perfecting your craft in order to get into companies such as the Metropolitan Opera or Young Artist programs, in which that's how a lot of conservatories, music schools help prepare their students. But I agree, because what happens if you do prepare, you do audition with 5 ARIA packages to help you get in that door, and it's still not enough? You still don't get into those institutions. I 100% agree, because opera music alone is a business. You are literally your own business. You are your own entrepreneur. And I am learning this myself. I wish that I had more of classes. I took more classes. I wish I took more classes that talked about being your own entrepreneur, making your own business, especially in music. So that way you have the tools in order to survive, in order to build your own business, build your own opportunities. If that doesn't happen, where you get into a young artist program that will get you to sing in front of agents or something like that, become your own agent, do your own research. There definitely has to be tools that coaches and voice teachers and just music conservatories and even music performing arts high schools can put into, so that way the music student has everything that they need. It's not always going to happen where you audition for something and you don't get what you want, and then you get disappointed, and then you think, what else can you do? So there definitely needs to be more entrepreneur classes that talk about the business behind opera. What are other resources? What are other things that you can do in your career concerning opera? Opera administration classes that help you with that help like you involve things like money, businesses, and things like that. So that's definitely necessary for every singer. You're your own business. And if you don't know how to manage your business, then that's an issue, because you don't know what else is next for you to do when it comes to your career.
I agree, absolutely. Well, on that note, I want to ask you this question. Would it then be advisable to young people who pursue this direction in the opera art to remember that after they graduate, there is a school loan to pay back? So it is wise to make sure that you're going all the way with this, that you're going to create some kind of business mind that you can market yourself and get yourself out there. But economically speaking, from an economic standpoint, where there is a glut on the market, there often tends to be some form of dilution of a product or service. If there are so many people going into this art form, would it cause some form of, I don't want to use the word conflict, but competition? You may have everyone really good at what they do. Then how can you tell the greatest of them all in a world where everybody's doing the same thing, and people may come to a point where, you know what, we hear of this every time. So we can hear on YouTube, we can hear on some station, why pay to go on it? So I asked that question for this because young people don't always think business-wise, especially young people who are not going into college for the first time. They see college as the foundation for their education and to have fun, basically. The whole concept of business only creeps into their mind when they're on their last year or when they're serving their final 2 years before graduation in college, they start to think about what next. Where do I go from here? How do I get myself really flourishing in this business? These things then come into play because you know that you have a financial commitment in terms of student loan to start paying back for pretty soon. And this is why I asked you this question. Should they give it very skillful thought? Should also be the colleges that make this possible for young people coming in and learn also try to interconnect with companies that can give the students a push start? What about those things do you think?
I think I absolutely agree with that, because after college, they have to know what's next. They have to pay back their dues. They have to pay back their loans, which is also important, that whatever school that you go to, if you get accepted into a music school, especially for singers, and they want you badly, first and foremost, make sure they invest in you. Make sure they give you a grant. Make sure they give you a scholarship, a full scholarship, because eventually, if they do not, you have to pay them back. So also, they have to know your worth, because if they don't and they accept you, but they don't give you any money or anything to help with your tuition, then it is all on you to pay that back. But if they don't, start looking at grants, start looking at things that will help you pay them back. But first and foremost, make sure they invest in you. If they like you so much, if they want you badly, if they think that you can represent their institute, their program, you make sure you know your worth in that, so that way you don't have to pay them. They're investing you. They want you. So therefore, I personally feel like you shouldn't have to pay them, just like pay to sing programs. Now, it's good to start out because you're putting yourself out there. That's exposure when people need to know your name. But what happens when you have more experience under your plate? You have a lot that you've done that is on your resume. Make sure that you are taken care of financially. They give you a full scholarship, or they pay you for whatever they want you to do.
Okay. With all of that being said now, you speaking directly to the young people who are now going into this for the first time, what advice would you give them from start to a mature, exposed, renowned probably opera singer like yourself now, right? What kind of advice would you want to give them and motivate them, point them in the right direction?
I would say, first and foremost, love yourself, love your voice. There are so many things that you're going to do, and people are always going to have an opinion on you. You use that opinion either to harm you or to help you. But first of all, know yourself, love your voice enough to prepare for the opportunities that you want. That's one thing that is key for anything. Prepare your music, prepare how you present yourself going into an audition. Really enjoy yourself, because it's more than just getting those opportunities. You're doing it because you love it. Keep loving it, no matter how many people say no, no matter how many things that you face. Honestly, first of all, the art form is beautiful. The business is tough. You have to have a tough heart. You have to have a strong heart. You have to have the discipline, the determination to keep going. Take a break once necessary, but if you love it so much and you feel like you can make a career out of it, keep going. But also, don't just work hard to get to your destination. And I'm learning this as I go. Enjoy your journey. Enjoy the process. Appreciate where you are at this moment. Never ever compare yourself to your friends, your colleagues, because they're on a different level doesn't make them any better or worse than you. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy, love your voice. Work hard. Enjoy that journey so that way other people can be healed and blessed by your voice, your gift, not anybody else's, not what the institution or young artist programs or anybody else think of you. Because at the end of the day, it's not about them. Whenever I sing, I go on stage and I really feel that person that I'm becoming on that stage. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, after the performance, people come up to me and say how they are moved. You want people to be moved by the gift that was given to you.
Absolutely.
Remember that. Remember that.
Absolutely. Well, Chantal, we come to the last minute. So I want to say really thank you for coming on and giving that kind of advice and education, actually, to the public at large. And to all those who have been tuning in on Living in the 21st Century, I want to say to you, have a blessed day. Bye-bye.